And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to Fed 1811. Your boy Myron Gaines here with Andrew from Legal Mindset, guys. Sorry for the delay, but we got a great show for you guys. Let's get into it, baby.
Move over, Denzel.
Okay, guys. I used to be a special agent of Homeland Security Investigations. This is the arrest paperwork. Okay, so here is the booking. Cases that I did mostly were human smuggling and drug trafficking. Those are like two crimes that I'm a very good agent, very strong agent. I did a lot of big cases. I've done Title III intercepts, which is basically listening to phones. I've written hundreds of affidavits to arrest people. I've been a grand jury and testified a million times. I've done big cases. And we are back. Yo. What's up, guys? Welcome to the fresh. Just kidding. Welcome to Fed 1811. Here with your boy Andrew Esquire, man, from Legal Mindset, guys. Sorry for the delay, guys. I made some upgrades on our computer, and it was not reading them too well, and I had some sound issues and audio issues and everything else like that. So I was able to fix it. We got things going right now, but yeah, we just want to make sure that nothing messes up, because as you guys know, when you go live, there's not really much you can do if things start to mess up. So I figured, hey, I'd rather push it back and be able to get y'all a decent show, right? We're going to go for about 60 minutes here or so. Yeah. Make sure nothing messes up, and then, give you guys the fire. But so anyway, real quick, I'm here with Andrew, man. You guys might not know who Andrew is. So Andrew,
you guys should know me. I'm the only guy, the only person who Myron does in studio Fed at 1911 with, which is fucking great. I love coming in here, talking with Myron. Obviously, I'm Andrew, Legal Mindset. I'm an attorney, a Florida attorney who normally is hanging out in Seoul, South Korea. I'm here from Miami, Florida. I'm from the 305. I've known Myron for a long time. We've done night game together, but yes. I also know his life as a federal law enforcement officer. I'm aware of a lot of the activities he was getting into, so I know he's a great guy to talk to when it comes to criminal charges. So when we're going to be talking about locking people up, especially locking up crazy 304s like Amber Heard, yes, he is the person to talk to about that.
Yes. And I'm happy to have you here, man. It's always a great discussion with you. This is going to be a high IQ conversation. So Andrew, can you give the people a little bit of your background as far as like your legal experience, what kind of law you practice, so they know?
Yeah, so I've practiced in a lot of different areas, but mainly corporate finance, real estate. So I represented large corporations. I represented at one point Universal Studios. My firm represented Universal Studios in Orlando. I've done a lot of development work up there with different housing, commercial projects, hotels in Central Florida. I've also represented large corporations, some of which will go unnamed. I still practice law, but I do it all remotely because I use COVID as an opportunity, not as an excuse to bitch and whine, which is something I hope all of you got to do. But essentially, I've had a lot of background in the corporate world, the general counsel world, but I've also had practice in the criminal sphere during my time in law school. Yeah. My 1L summer, my first law school summer, I spent that testing out the criminal side. Not for me. The second time I tried a little bit of civil, not for me. Ended up doing more in-house finance, but I fucking love it. My channel is Legal Mindset. I cover trials or anything that's legal news in the United States. And when I want to know about something very specifically, I bring on specialists. I bring on people who know what they're talking about specifically. Because as a generalist, as a guy who was in-house, who was the quarterback, I know sometimes I have to rely on people who know specifically about what they're talking about. And I know that Myron specifically knows about crimes. This guy, of all the people I know, can cite the federal code more than anybody. I have no idea. Literally, we're sitting here talking about perjury, and the guy just rattles it off. He's sitting over here, not looking at anything. He just rattles it off. Myron, what's the USC site for perjury?
It's 18 USC 1001. False statements.
Motherfucker, I don't even know that shit. I'm a lawyer. Like, yeah. I should go have to retake the bar. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's great, because the thing I like about federal law is that it's universal. It's you got it's 18 code. USC is basically the criminal code. And I'm able to cite a bunch of different 18 USC codes that I charged when I was an agent myself, because you have to memorize it, because you're like, all right, before you even call the prosecutor, the AUSA, federal prosecutor, right, you have to know, hey, this is what I think we can get them on. This is the elements. This is what I think we got them on this. And sometimes some AUSAs are pussies. So you got to like be able to articulate like, yo, this is why we should prosecute this, because I have this, and I have that. And he's not going to fight. And I got a snitch, blah, 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 whatever. So knowing the laws definitely helps you as an agent as well. So, because, not all AUSAs are aggressive. Some of them, they're risk averse AUSAs. Right. They don't want to lose.
They want to win.
They want to win. They have like a 90% win rate for a reason. So, with the Fed, there's a reason why when the Feds come, it's a wrap for you, because the AUSAs, if they're indicting, they're ready to go to trial.
Yeah.
So with this one, so you guys know
Amber Heard, right?
Yes,
It's Amber Heard. Guys, if you guys don't know about this, where the fuck have you been? Have you been living under a rock, right? But we got to give a little bit of background,
Yes,
right?
so let's give a little bit of background. We're going to go down memory lane real quick. Okay. I got the sound effects ready.
All right.
Yeah, so give the people a little bit of a background, I guess, on who Amber Heard is, Johnny Depp, and how this thing even started.
So, I mean, there was once this movie called Pirates of the Caribbean, and it sold a fucking shit ton. Seriously, though, guys, one of the highest grossing film franchises ever.
Market to kids, you're going to make money.
Right. So you've got Johnny Depp. He's in this crazy good series. It's making tons of bank. He's doing tons of other movies. I believe he started at that point The Rum Diaries, which was when he met a little lady named Amber Heard. And Amber Heard, now she looks a little different than she looks right now. She had that good cocaine body going, that very, very unnaturally slim look. I think of Carrie Fisher from Empire Strikes Back in that metal bikini. I mean, she's got that, super slim, but still has the big boobs sort of look going for her. So he falls for that crazy pussy, gets snatched up by it. They end up having a very, very, very crazy, rocky relationship. There's one point at which she tries to get him to sign a prenup. She says, no. Tries to get him to sign a postnup. There's a huge fight over that. She tries to get into his will. Luckily, he did not do that.
Yep. Thank God.
Luckily for his fucking life.
Yep.
But he ends up eventually divorcing her after several incidences of domestic abuse. Now, when they end up before they end up getting divorced, though, Amber Heard, on around the same time his mother dies, and on the premiere of Alice Through the Looking Glass, files for a temporary restraining order. Right, so she files for this. That's the official document, guys, because we're going to get into crimes here. Today is about crimes. So she files an official document saying, with the court, Johnny Depp abused me, and she shows up with some weak ass picture, looking like she put some blush on her, her cheek or something like that, saying, "Oh, I'm bruised."
She showed up with a black eye, guys. Pretty much.
She showed up with what she calls a black eye.
Yeah, and which came to be found out later on in the trial. And shout out to you, C10 Say, hey, Myron, should have Ed Calderon on to discuss Mexico drug cartels. Used to work for the feds on the Mexican side. As I understand it, would definitely make a good show for Fed 1811. Thank you so much. Yeah. And then you could just click one of any of the other ones. Click one of those things, Holly, and then take it off. And no, I'm not going to put her on camera. I know that's what you guys want, but she's
thirsty.
Yeah,
thirsty.
She's helping out. Chris ain't in the back, so guys, cut her some slack. She's helping us out here on the show. But going back to what I was saying with Amber Heard,
yes,
and we found out during the course of the trial that she actually went ahead and put fake makeup on, injury makeup,
yes,
to make it look like she got beat up.
Yes,
and she went to the judge.
Yes, and by the way, if you guys want a good rundown, I did 2 Fresh and Fit episodes, so you can watch either one of those. You'll get a great rundown of the entire case, so make sure to check that out.
Yeah,
I know that most of you guys are subscribed, so that's one thing, but she was faking her injuries.
Yep. And it was key because when you show up, guys, and you're injured and you say, hey, I need a temporary restraining order right now,
right,
they're going to give it to you immediately.
Right.
She's not stupid. There's a reason why she went there with an injury on her face, so they could say it's imminent. I'm in danger. Right. I need this restraining order now.
And like most things, it was ex parte, which means that the other opposing party is not there. So essentially, she walked in herself, Johnny Depp not being there, right? No counsel, no ability to say shit, and said, hey, I'm in danger. This person is a danger to me. They've hit me. Give me a TRO. She got the TRO. So this trended and it nuked his career. So that career we're talking about, Pirates, was just sailing along, and all of a sudden that shit sunk like the Flying Dutchman.
Yep.
Right? That thing was
2016.
Exactly.
Not only that, she called TMZ, and this all came out in trial. She called TMZ, let them know whether it was her or someone on her team. Hey, I'm going to be at this courthouse at this time. I'm going to be on this side. I'm going to stand in this area so you guys can get pictures. And that's how TMZ was able to show up on scene, get pictures, and kind of illustrate this narrative that Johnny Depp beat the crap out of her when, come to find out, she had used makeup cream, essentially a bruise kit, to make herself look like she had been attacked, so that she can go ahead and go into because guys, here's the thing, normally when you want to do a restraining order, you need to be able to prove your case.
Exactly.
Okay, but the fact that she was able to go in there with an injury, she was like, oh, I need it right now. And guys, I don't think you understand that how injurious it can be to you if you have a restraining order put against you. You can't buy a gun. If you're a police officer or a public servant, that's immediately going to be used against you. You can lose your job for having a restraining order against you if you're a public servant, guys. So this is very serious stuff if someone files a restraining order. And then the scary part is it's ex parte, as Andrew explained to you guys before. Johnny can't even defend himself. She went to the judge herself, said something, and he can't even defend himself. Bam, restraining order filed. She has a black eye, and she faked it. And that's a big deal. And King Life here, $2. Amber got the RO on Deb's daughter's B-Day.
Yeah, that's fucked up. So I mean, it's a whole situation where she was saying, and she was trying to pretend that, hey, I'm just doing this for Johnny. I'm trying to help Johnny. Yeah.
Stop the cap.
Yeah, 100%. I was waiting for the sound effect. I knew he had it.
I got you.
I like look over. I'm like, he's got a sound effect for this. But it's his daughter's birthday. It's, his mom just died. Alice the Looking Glass came out. So it's hijacking off all of the news cycle, getting it out there. And the important thing was it caused him to lose several movie contracts, including the next Pirates sequel.
Shout out to Dorkhead. You mentioned something really good in the chat. We forgot to mention this, Andrew. We should have put this on our notes. She could be held liable for blackmail and extortion.
That's true. You can add that to the list.
We can add that to the list as a crime.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that at the end. Blackmail and extortion.
Do you want to hit that one now or after?
Let's hit it. Let's hit it once I finish this recap. So
go ahead,
real quick.
please.
So the important thing is midst the sequel, right? So he's out of the sequel. That gave him eligibility because there's now damages to file for defamation.
Bam.
Now, he filed for defamation against a newspaper, a British periodical, The Sun, a couple years ago. Now, he fought that in the British courts. He ultimately ended up losing. We're not going to go into that. I'm not a British solicitor because their system has two types of lawyers, barristers and solicitors. I'm not a solicitor. Solicitors are the courtroom lawyers over there in the UK.
What's a barrister?
A barrister is like a non-courtroom lawyer, essentially. That's a gross oversimplification, but essentially they have like courtroom lawyers and non-courtroom lawyers.
So what would the non-courtroom lawyer do?
Like a transactional attorney, more like me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would be
They
more
don't
of a
litigate.
barrister. Yeah. No, don't litigate.
They don't litigate at all.
Versus somebody who's in the courtroom the entire time. That's the solicitor.
Okay. So a prosecutor would be a courtroom lawyer in this case because they're litigating all the time.
Yes.
Versus someone that's in corporate law that's doing more of
the paperwork, or they're doing something else, or they're negotiating. That would be more barrister. But once again, I'm not a UK lawyer. Point of the matter is, though, their system is different. They don't use juries. In that case, it was a judge, Judge Nichols.
Oh.
Now, this judge, a lot of people, even UK people, have sent me information that this judge should have recused himself. He was a little too close to the Sun. He had too many connections to the Sun and too many connections to
Johnny Depp's son?
No, the periodical in the UK is called The Sun.
The Sun. Okay,
The
yes.
Sun. He had too many connections to that newspaper.
You know what? I know what that newspaper is because we went viral on there for saying the thing about single moms. I remember.
You're like, I know it. They got us.
We went viral on the Sun actually, and I got a bunch of hate from the angry British women.
So there was too much. There was a lot of corruption. There's a lot of crossover, and that judge actually ended up retiring after that case.
AKA probably a forced resignation or some shit.
Yes. It's like he retired, so they didn't make him retire.
Yeah.
So very sketchy ass case. Very sketchy ass case. As part of that case, and we'll get to this later, but she said, Amber Heard testified that she donated the money she got from the divorce settlement. That she had no interest in money.
My detective test determined that was a lie.
We're going to get to that one. And then all of a sudden this year, in Virginia, in Fairfax County, Virginia, we have the defamation case.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not doing a defamation recap, but all I'll say is it was a crazy case. It was an insane case. If you need to watch footage of it, you can
check it out on Andrew's channel.
To my channel.
Andrew did probably some of the best breakdowns on that fucking case
and the
on
only,
the internet.
And the only red pill breakdown, just to say right now.
Only
right
one.
now,
That's why you go
one
watch his version.
That's not pulling the cap. But
yes.
I've got the footage on that. We've done breakdowns on this channel if you want to get into that. Point of the matter is, Amber Heard lost. She got destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Her credibility was completely shot.
Aldane asks here, $5. Isn't there a law for false allegations?
Yes, of course there is.
And we'll cover that. Don't worry.
We're going to get to that, guys.
Don't worry.
So she lost. She did win one of her counterclaims involving statements of the lawyer. So essentially, Johnny had won $10 million. There's a counterclaim for $2 million. You put that together, Amber Heard owes Johnny Depp $8 million. Mm-hmm. So, and actually it's 8.35 because there's some punitive damages included in that.
So she won some money too. right?
Well, she technically, so he won $10 million plus a $5 million in punitive damages. The $5 million got reduced because there's a punitive damage cap after Exxon Valdez. All the states went around with tort reform.
Yes.
You think about the hot coffee. That's another incident where there was tort reform.
Yeah.
So they capped that at $350,000.
Okay.
So the $5 million went to $350,000. That's the state law.
Yep.
10
In the
million.
state of Virginia.
So he won 10 million. She counterclaimed for 2, but they deduct that. So it's a net,
Okay.
So net, it's 8 in Johnny's favor.
Yeah.
So yeah, she won money.
Yeah, she basically got money taken off.
But
the
it's
top.
an offset. Yeah, it's an offset.
It's offset. So she was able to prove defamation on her side to a degree as well.
Exactly.
But I mean,
not actually by not by Johnny, really by his attorney, but the jury had to find he was acting as his agent in that statement. It's very sketchy. Frankly, almost all of us lawyers, we feel like if that went to appeal, if she actually appeals, that counterclaim will be thrown out because this should have been it really was attorney-client privilege. It should have never gone to the jury. It was really an issue where it was impossible to prove that Johnny Depp directed the guy to make those statements. It was really weird. Because almost everything that the former attorney Adam Waldman said was attorney-client privilege. Anything is between an attorney and a client.
Of course,
you can't bring that up.
Of course,
and there was an objection to attorney-client privilege. And when you do that in a case, when you object to attorney-client privilege, the jury is not even allowed to consider what was said, like as fact, or consider the question, or consider whether or not the guy did or did not answer it, whether that he's trying to hide something or be evasive, or
attorney-client privilege, guys, in the United States is protected to a significant degree. I mean, like, let's say let's go into a scenario real quick so the audience can understand.
Right.
Dream world, right? I rob a bank and I kill 3 people, okay? And I get arrested by the fucking FBI a couple days later, right?
Right.
FBI, open up!
And then I retain Andrew as my attorney,
right?
Right, and then I go ahead and I tell Andrew in the courtroom, all right, Andrew, I murked those motherfuckers. I told him to give me the goddamn money and they didn't want to do it. And then I just, you know what I'm saying? But that's attorney-client privilege conversation.
Sort of, yeah. Because there is if you tell them that you're lying, you do have certain duties to, like, if you say, like, straight up, if you said I killed them,
yeah, like
there is a duty to, like, honesty at some point. But like if you give me some story where it's like pretty clear you did, but
yeah, I was defending myself.
Right.
No, I was defending myself.
It was self-defense.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I can defend you on that. I can work with that. I can work with self-defense.
The point is that the government, right, can't really use those statements against me because that's attorney-client privilege. And as a matter of fact, like, if you're wiretapping someone's phone, and I remember this because I used to listen to bad guys' phones, if he's on the phone with his attorney, you have to hang up. You can't listen anymore because attorney-client privilege. It's privileged information. You can't fuck with that whatsoever between a client and his attorney, unless the attorneys involved in criminal activity themselves. But to be honest, that's rare and few between. So
yeah, it's few and far between.
So in a civil case, it's protected as well.
Right. And if you tell me your reasoning, right, and this is the whole point, if Myron was to say, hey, I did this for XYZ reason, to feed my family, or to, because I wanted to buy some Coke or something like that, that's attorney-client privilege. So Johnny's reason and what he was talking to his attorney about, that's none of the court's business. They have no ability to go back and look at that. They shouldn't have an ability to look at that. And it's highly protected. We don't want people to pierce that attorney-client relationship. So it was very weird. It was the oddest set of circumstances. Frankly, as a lawyer, I was very concerned that that charge went through. I know it could get thrown out. And look, at the end of the day, justice for Johnny. Johnny got the money, right? But it was pretty concerning. That being said, we now have to, because we have a decision, and Amber Heard was found liable on all 3 counts of defamation.
Yes.
So both, so essentially the jury said they believe that Johnny Depp was defamed for any type of abuse, because in Virginia, even if they found that Johnny Depp had verbally abused Amber, that would have been enough to say there was some abuse. And there were 3 counts of defamation. 2 of them were for just more general abuse, more generalized domestic abuse. One of them was for sexual abuse. So they said that Amber lied about the sexual abuse, and she lied about any other forms of domestic abuse, which is huge.
That is huge.
Which is massive. So we now have facts where we're saying, hey, Amber lied about domestic abuse. Amber lied about sexual abuse. Shouldn't this be criminal? We had Juicy Smollett. Remember Juicy?
Yeah.
Juicy, if you recall, said that he was going to Subway in Chicago in the hood. And in the middle of the hood in Chicago,
apparently a bunch of niggas in white hoods showed up. And it's just, hey, come here, black boy.
No, it was they yelled, "This is MAGA country!" in the middle of Chicago at 2 a.m. Like,
could you imagine? This is MAGA country! Come here! Black boy! Woo! And then some fucking start beating the shit out of them.
And they were like, and apparently they're like, one of them had a noose. They were saying they had a noose or something. It was ridiculous. The police investigated this. They spent thousands of hours of police time, like literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of police time. And they investigated it, was like, this motherfucker is a lying piece of shit.
Yeah.
My detective test determined that was a lie.
And then EP signature, I pledge $1 million. Thank you so much, bro.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Don't you be pledging up in here.
The Vikings have the most playoff losses. $5. Black pill for me. Some sucker is gonna marry these non-deserving women.
That's facts.
And then Kool-Aid man, $10. Isn't a Esquire a sign of nobility?
We don't use it as a sign of nobility.
Kool-Aid man in the chat. And then George O'Kell, $5. I pledge furniture cleaner. All right. Sorry, go ahead. So yeah. So apparently he's getting beat up by MAGA guys.
Beat up by MAGA guys. Yeah. So they found out he's a fucking liar. Yeah. They took him to trial. They found him guilty, right, of falsifying police documents, right, falsifying police reports, which is a crime.
Yes.
Right. So there's obviously local laws, right? What would the federal law be for falsifying a law enforcement document?
Yeah, so lying, so typically false statements is it's a catch-all charge. It's 18 USC 1001, guys, which is false statements or saying things that you should, or lying to federal investigators, which is a very that's what they got Martha Stewart on. It's a very easy charge to prove. It's broad. It's very broad. Do the feds charge it often? Fairly often, depending on who the person is. You know what I mean? If someone is on some bullshit or whatever, it's a way to get someone. They get a lot of political people on this as well. Back in like 2003, there was a CIA officer, I think her name was Plummet or some shit like that, and she and this guy who was, I think, on the Dick Cheney's team, right, had disclosed that this woman worked for the CIA, and he lied to the FBI about it. So the FBI came back and went after him for basically lying to federal agents, which is typically 18 USC.
See, I think that's a big difference between state and federal, and this is important because this is not necessarily a federal case. I mean, there's potential. I mean, I guess some of the issues could be potentially federal, but the issue is that local law enforcement doesn't as often enforce it as perjury, specifically or falsifying documents. They don't come after it as often. I think the Chicago case was rare. Remember, with the Justice Smollett case, there was a whole lot of fuckery there. There was Obama appointees that were like, we're not gonna go through with this. They dropped the charges at one point. They had appointed a special prosecutor. I mean, it was a whole shit show to go through this with Justice Smollett.
Hit national news. It was a hate crime. Anytime you involve race, it's going to be more sensitive. So law enforcement kind of has a duty to act to make something happen. So the fact that he lied and he was able to leverage all these resources to go ahead and investigate a crime that never actually happened is pretty egregious, man. And he's doing some jail time for it, rightfully so. Like, what the fuck, man?
So he tried to start a race war. This is trying to start a gender war, right? You're getting Amber up in here. And remember, Amber was the gender violence representative for the ACLU. Yes. She was out there making statements about, gender violence in the world, violence against women, et cetera, et cetera. So she was holding herself out there as somebody who
like an ambassador.
Yes, who would face this type of abuse, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
but she was the one actually beating him up.
That's what we found out at the trial. So it's like the question is afterwards, shouldn't this be illegal? Everyone asks, it's like, this is not right. Right. This is, I mean, just fundamentally from like a moral standpoint, where like there needs to be consequences for people coming in our society and just fucking lying.
And here's the thing, guys. We've outlined all the crimes that Amber Heard potentially committed and could be charged with. Okay.
Yes.
You want to go through those?
Yes, let's go through it. So obviously the first one, which will come to anybody's mind, is perjury, right? Yes. Everyone's like, okay, it's got to be perjury, falsifying documents.
And we can define what perjury is.
Right. So what is perjury, Myron?
Perjury basically, guys, is lying under oath. When you go in court, guys, what they're going to do is they're going to tell you, raise your right hand. Do you swear everything you say is correct and true to the best of your knowledge, so help you God? Yes, I do. Bam, you're under oath. And when they ask you questions, you must tell the truth, or tell the truth to the best of your knowledge. But if they're able to figure out that you're willingly either lying and or omitting material facts, you can be charged for that, which is perjury and or also false statements, because a lot of times when federal agents ask you questions, they might put you under oath or whatever it may be, and if you lie as well, you can get hit with 1001. So yeah, it's basically lying. Perjury is specific typically to being under oath, especially, and that's a state charge.
So in this case, specifically with perjury or falsifying documents, when she went to file for that restraining order, she had to make a statement under oath that I was abused by this person. And now we've found out that that was a fucking lie. Stupid. So right there, and she had police officers coming over to her house, right? Previously, she had police officers coming over to her house. They were like looking around. She had called based on a domestic violence call. They found no evidence of anything. Body cam footage didn't show shit. They gave her a business card, walked out. So you've got all this evidence. So you've got a potential in California, because this was filed in California, for them to come after Amber Heard for perjury.
Yeah.
Now, in that specific instance, it is California. So we have to say,
it's
politics of California.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's a whole other world.
Not looking
clown world.
Not looking great. Also, she did lie about under oath. She did lie about the stair incident, and I bring that up because if you're watching the trial and you saw Kate Moss come in, such a juxtaposition. Kate Moss, who has it together, has her shit together, is 10 years older than Amber Heard, but looks way better. And is not a fucking complete unlikable bitch. But
Oh yeah!
bro, on the stand is like night and day.
Yeah.
But she said that she was afraid of her sister getting pushed down the stairs by Johnny Depp.
Yes.
There was testimony of several witnesses. That's not how that lined up. That's just one example of, hey, this is an example of her lying under oath.
Yeah.
Now people ask,
Amber Heard testified that Johnny Depp pushed her down the stairs.
Was going to push her sister down.
Excuse me. Was going to push her sister down the stairs, and she fucked up because what she did was she said, and she alleged that Kate Moss had also been pushed down the stairs, which Johnny Depp's team was like, "Oh yeah, we fucking got this fucking girl," because now they can bring Kate Moss in as a character witness to rebut that claim that she made by bringing in another person's name and making an allegation. And Kate Moss comes in and is able to actually clear Johnny. So the very person she thought that was going to make her case stronger, that Johnny Depp is a violent abuser, etc., actually came in and cleared his name and said, no, he's never done that stuff. And he never pushed me down, which made her look really bad.
Super bad.
Yes.
And so she looked bad on that. People say, okay, is that potentially a perjury? Well, I mean, that's one example. Now, generally, I will say this, guys, as a general rule, especially on the state level, people lying in court, especially the criminal defendants or civil defendants, they typically aren't gone after for perjury, right? Just because they go in and they give a statement.
Unless you're low, Kim.
Yeah, well.
And you're stupid.
That's stupid. A next level idiocy.
Yeah.
But typically, if you did that, then almost every single case we'd be hitting somebody with a perjury charge.
Yeah.
Right. And the court's already flooded with litigation. So I would just be like, okay, we're gonna have to charge everybody who loses the court case with perjury. Yeah. Right. It's gonna flood the court. So
and they don't do that much time for perjury, guys.
Maybe not for that. However, this case is international. Oh yes. Here we go. So for perjury, there's two other countries that are seriously thinking about perjury. Number one is the United Kingdom. We'll start with the United Kingdom. So over in jolly old England, for that case, remember how we said Amber Heard said she wasn't interested in money, and she donated all of it. She donated all of that money. She gave it away to the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. Well, turns out that was a lie.
Stop the cap.
So she actually didn't give any money to those charities. She gave, actually the only people who gave were Elon, who simped for her hard.
Yes.
Gave $500K, I believe, to them. And Johnny, who gave money as prescribed, required by the court.
Yeah.
She hasn't given shit of her own money. Not a fucking dime.
Yep.
So that was very central to the case. So the UK is investigating whether or not to go after her for perjury, to open that up, go after her for perjury. They said they're seriously considering that. So that is an actual criminal charge.
As they should.
Now, let me bring up one thing because this is international. Myron, have you ever dealt with extradition?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes, I
how
have.
common would you say extradition is?
So, before I answer this, Rob Burns, real quick, $5. Check out Tim McBride, the saltwater cowboy. He used to smuggle tons of Mary Jane through the backwaters of Florida back in the late 70s to late 80s. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. I'll check that out. And then Trey Dokes, $5. Better see all address. The Simpleton, Michael B. Jordan, SMH. Yeah, bro, he fucked up by trying to wife up Lori Harvey. As soon as fucking Future said, tell Steve, I don't want her. Like you shouldn't want her either, bro. So, with extradition, guys, so it depends on the country where the fugitive is.
Right.
So if he's in a country that doesn't necessarily respect and or adhere to extradition, you're not going to get your guy.
Yes.
So like, for example, look at someone like Snowden. He's wanted. He's been indicted. in the north. I think the North District of Virginia.
Yep.
For a whole bunch of shit, treason, bunch of shit. And if they ever get him here, he's probably going to get.
But the Ruskies right now are not going to turn that guy over. He's been sitting pretty in Moscow. I think his girlfriend even went over there. Like
they're never turning him over.
Yeah, that's a big fuck you to America.
Yeah.
Like you can chill in Moscow and like he's not going to have any problems.
He's never going to get extradited. So like
same thing with the oligarchs, right? Because some of those oligarchs, the Russian oligarchs, they've like charged them with certain crimes.
Yes,
they're not getting extradited.
Never.
Like why would he ever do that?
Yeah.
So that's not
Venezuela.
happening.
So like if you go to certain countries and you're wanted by the United States, they're not necessarily going to extradite you. The UK will extradite though.
Well, hold on though. Here's my point. That typically, yes.
Yeah.
But here's my other point: is that recently there's been some bad blood with the UK because of Assange. Remember Julian Assange, WikiLeaks?
Mm-hmm.
They did not extradite him from Britain to the United States because they said that our system is fundamentally like unsafe, unfair, in that they're afraid for him in our prison system because it's unusually cruel.
Is he a British citizen?
No.
He's not British?
No.
They're not turning him over?
Yeah, he's a crime. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they didn't want to turn him over because we have a
What's his
system.
name again? Julian
Assange. You know about Julian Assange?
Yeah. I'm gonna look at his citizenship.
Yeah,
real
yeah.
fast.
You can check his citizenship real quick, but
because that bigs up. Because if it's a U.S. citizen, a lot of the time.
But the point of the matter is
Yeah,
that it wasn't. And it's not just Assange. There were other cases, but the British precedent has been they really don't like our system. They think our prison system is really fucked up.
He's Australian. Makes sense now.
Close enough.
Yeah.
That's it. Piss off all the Australians. It's like,
hey, mate, what the fuck?
Actually, you know, it's funny. I actually usually am doing morning shows now because I'm over in Korea. So I do shows that are in morning EST, but they're PM over there.
Yeah.
So I have a huge like Aussie, UK, and
shouts out Australia. We love you guys though.
Thanks. No, I love it because they're holding out on that prison island, man. They're sticking
facts. You guys are really going through it over there, bro. Holy shit.
Seriously.
We complain about feminism over here. It's even worse over there, bro.
Way worse.
Holy shit.
But you can still smash,
$5. Got to say, like some of these fetid topics, enjoying the details. Thanks. Got you, bro. We give you guys a lot of education here. Thanks. I'm glad you're covering this. That's from my bro, rather. Okay, so go ahead. So you were talking about.
So essentially,
UK might not extradite.
They might not actually extradite. Here's the other thing too. She could just avoid the UK, you know, and it's probably a minor enough charge. It's not super important. But
wouldn't it be? We'd be giving her over to but why would we give a U.S. citizen over there when they don't want to give us their fucking
exactly?
WikiLeaks guy?
It's like let's have some trades here, right?
Yeah.
If we're gonna give you Amber Heard, like who the fuck are you gonna give us? Like give us somebody, right? Let's have some exchange. Let's get this going again. Stop saying we're like unethical, right? If you're gonna
even though on paper he's probably has way more value than her.
Way more value.
But,
I mean, way more value. But you know. Look, and the whole Julian Assange thing, there's a separate that is a whole separate topic of whether or not we should go. That's a fucking road I don't even want to go down right now.
Now you're getting into national security and
Julian Assange is a whole national security, like that's a whole other side. You know. And how I feel about all those laws, because some of those laws need to be repealed. But that's
the Patriot Act and everything.
Yeah, the Patriot Act.
We can have a deep talk about that one too. That's another.
That's a whole.
You know what
we should do?
We should do that talk with 9/11.
Yeah,
because people have been asking me forever to break down 9/11. I keep telling them,
let's do it.
That's going to be. We could do that.
Yeah, because I'm a fan of sunsetting a lot of that shit. But anyways, point of the matter is
it ain't happening. It ain't happening.
The reality is it's not happening, but it should have gone away by now. Like the justification was Osama, and that motherfucker's in the ocean right now.
Yeah.
So like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyways,
we'll give you guys a 9/11 episode because they've been asking me that for a while, Andrew. And I think between the two of us, they would really enjoy us doing the breaking down 9/11, the Patriot Act, NSA collecting phone numbers, all that shit.
Yeah, you got to wear the Osama beard though.
I'll get one somewhere.
I'll do my Bush impression.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so. Fucking God. All right, so that's the issue there in the UK. There's also perjury in Australia. So if you didn't know, key to this trial are two teacup Yorkies named Boo and Pistol. And Boo and Pistol, a lot of stuff. We're gonna get into the. Don't worry, we're gonna get into the Amber Turd stuff. But one of the big issues was those teacup Yorkies were brought into Australia without the proper paperwork permission. Australia is really, really a stickler on animals because, you know, they kind of have a fragile ecosystem, you know, where they have all those marsupials and shit. And just like one foreign animal can
gotta
really
protect the koalas, man.
Yes.
Gotta protect the koalas and the kangaroos,
the syphilis-ridden koalas.
Yeah. Have you really have syphilis?
Yeah, all koalas have syphilis almost, except for there's like 1 or 2 sanctuaries that have like no syphilis koalas, but almost every koala has syphilis. Yeah. Myron's learning something about fucking koalas.
No,
Koalas-
no, it's not about. I'm thinking in my head like, is that how humans got syphilis from something?
No, they didn't fuck a koala, Myron. No, that's not what happened.
Okay, I hope not.
That's a crime, by the way. That's crime.
That should be
That's
a crime.
You
It's
can't
an
fuck-
endangered
don't fuck the-
species.
Do not fuck a koala.
Guys, don't bang
People
koalas.
Do not fuck the koalas.
Don't do that shit.
All right.
All right. It's
So-
the Phoenix $5. What do you say about the FBLI allegedly leaking James O'Keefe attorney-client correspondence to the NYT? How do you
Yeah,
deal with exec overreach?
that was insane. I mean, what they didn't have done with Project Veritas in terms of like trying to get them is pretty crazy, and it's because Project Veritas, frankly, has been doing the Lord's work of exposing these people and their bullshit. They exposed the New York Times. They exposed Pfizer. Their Pfizer stuff was. I don't want to talk about that on YouTube. I feel like I don't want to get the channel yeeted still, but. Talking about that Pfizer stuff right now. I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, how are your hearts? That's all I'm gonna say right now.
Yeah, man. If you want to jab yourself,
Fuck,
Monarchist one.
bro.
Hey, Myron, Peak broke up with Shakira, which proves your points on how new puss is better. It happens, bro. But anyway, so we're talking
So
about
perjury, Australia, the dogs, right?
Yes.
So then when they brought him in, Amber Turd said, "Hey, it was an accident," because she's the one who brought him in, by the way.
Yeah.
So she said it was an accident. I didn't mean to bring them in, and she's like, "I'm so sorry," and she signed a statement saying it was a mistake. She's sorry. They paid about $1,000 fine.
So she didn't declare it properly to customs.
Yes, but because she's gone out, and it's kind of seems like based on her statements in this trial and her other statements that she intentionally brought them in, that this was something she knew was wrong, and she did it anyways. It's possible to reopen that. It's possible to get an Australian perjury charge. And they're thinking about it in Australia right now, related to the dogs, right? So
Okay.
you've got UK, you've got dogs. Sorry, I'm laughing at Graham NC. It says, Andrew, how the hell do you know that about koalas?
Yeah, that is a strange.
Listen, I was in Australia before the lockdown. That's probably the last time I'll go there until they fucking change to a non-commie government. But yeah, I was in Australia before the lockdown. So I went to Lone Pine Koala Conservatory in Brizzy.
You guys are kind of stuck out there in Australia, bro.
Bro,
And you guys got people like what's that talk show that I was on?
The Really Woke one. I don't know.
Really Woke one that
They
I came
chewed
on.
you out, and I came on after that, immediately after that.
Yeah,
And you guys were like still yelling at them. It was hilarious.
or they were yelling at us because they
Yeah.
were triggered.
Well, and then they were trying to call you to get you back afterwards. Like
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah, you're my
baby,
witness.
baby, come back. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? These guys
Yeah.
are trying to apologize.
Nope.
Yeah, well, they need the clout, bro.
Exactly.
We got their dumbasses views.
So we got perjury.
Anyway.
That's the perjury statements, right? We've got
Okay,
those.
so she might get charged in UK for lying,
Yes.
and then she also might get charged in in Australia for lying
perjury.
for lying
Now-
to customs.
Now let's stick in Australia real quick. So during this trial, the narrative, which was proven in the U.S. trial in Virginia, was that Amber Heard took a handle of vodka and threw it at Johnny Depp.
Oh shit.
And when it hit he impacted his finger's on the side of the table, sort of like my finger, actually his middle finger, right? Just like this, right?
Yep.
Off the side of the table. And the glass cut off the tip of his finger
Oh
from the handle.
Fatality.
So he lost the tip of his finger and had to have it restored. Had to have that finger restored. So that is a crime. And in the United States, we would usually say assault with a weapon,
Yep.
right? A deadly weapon, because I mean, you're using a weapon, and a handle of vodka that's thrown could be a deadly weapon.
Yep.
But in Australia, and I learned this through talking with a Australian lawyer, Jahan, there's a law in Australia called glassing.
That was easy.
And I had not heard about this, but glassing is when you engage in any sort of attack with a glass object, mainly a bottle. And we're talking about, so you break the beer bottle, you've got the beer bottle stabby stab.
Apparently, there must have been like some kind of like bottle revolution in Australia where they decided to make this thing a fucking law.
Yeah.
They're breaking the bottle. Hey, mate, let's fucking do this.
Yeah.
And they're just getting in fights with
You call
bottles.
that a knife?
Yeah, you got a knife.
This is a knife.
This is a knife. I caught you. Let's do this.
Yeah. So that shit is a serious crime there. And here's another thing about Australia. In America, we have something called statutes of limitation. That means that there's a certain time limit. The clock is ticking from when the crime happened to when you have to file. That's so you don't get shit like what happened with fucking Bill Cosby, where
Yeah.
it's like 100 years later, like people are filing these charges.
Or Brett Kavanaugh.
Brett Kavanaugh, fucking 50 years later, all of a sudden when he's applying to be a Supreme Court justice,
Yeah, this shit comes out of nowhere.
That's when you decide to find the crime.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me
They
right
did
now?
a devil's triangle on me.
Yeah, of course. Like So that's when you decide to come out. Zero proof, zero anything. So anyway, there's no statute of limitations in Australia, so you can file charges whenever. So this might be an issue if this was in America because the statute might have run by now. It's 2022. A lot of this stuff happened in 2016, 2015, 2014. So
what's the lifespan of a kangaroo? It's got to be high for them to be.
I am not a kangaroo specialist.
You know about koalas, so I don't know.
That's a totally different animal. Totally different animal.
I know, but I figured
totally different animal.
They probably have a lifetime statute of limitations because it's like, bro, I want to go charge this koala that kicked me.
The statute lasts as long as a koala.
Yeah, as long as a koala.
God.
He gave me syphilis. I'm coming back. Trisha G, Taryn T, $5. Hi guys, new here, British veteran and DV survivor. Found you through Legal Mindset. Team Johnny, great channel.
Hey Trish, welcome to the channel. Welcome.
CJ Miller, $10. Unfortunately, cases like this happens a lot. Average guys get financially drained.
Yeah,
that's true.
I will say the one thing about the Johnny Depp trial is they do not have most regular guys, regular Joes do not have the funds that Johnny Depp has.
Yeah.
So that's why this case was so important to, number one, expose the craziness here, to destroy the narrative #BelieveAllWomen.
Yes.
Which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Right. It's absolutely nuts. And people are still trying to hold this up, still trying to hold up this verdict as misogynistic. I'm going to talk about that with my good boy Roland Tomasi tomorrow at 7 p.m. on my channel.
Yes.
Misogyny.
The articles this weekend have all been about misogyny. And by the way, thank you for the super chat.
Amanda Joe Zone, $100. Oh my God, Legal Mindset and Fed in one place. Yes. And guys, every time Andrew's stateside, we're gonna do these collabs for you guys because I know you guys really fucking enjoy these things.
Even though the most hate comments I get on my channel are when I do fucking collabs with Fresh and Fit, I still will do it no matter what because fuck what people say, fuck what people think. I've been working with I know Myron since before he was big,
way before,
and I know him personally, so I'm always going to be coming on the channel. Like I'm not going to be a little bitch about it. So I'll be here, and I love doing Fed It because it's different content and it's more legal content. Yeah. So we're
not here talking about dating and womanizing. We're talking about womanizing legally.
Although it's kind of funny because that ends up working its way into a lot of these scenarios.
It always does.
It always does.
It always does, man.
It always does.
But no, people love the content, man. Between the two of us, it's two different perspectives. And honestly, you're not gonna get this shit anywhere else on fucking YouTube. You're not gonna have a Fed and a lawyer sitting at a table breaking it down for y'all with actual professional experience to have done the fucking job. You're not.
Right. This doesn't happen. So we were at Australia. We got glassing,
kangaroos,
right? So glassing. So this is a charge. So essentially, an attack with a bottle. She could be charged for that because the vodka bottle was glass, and she attacked Johnny with it. So it's possible to get her for that. That's a possible criminal charge. And I've heard people say they're very, very, very interested in going after that in Australia. So we will see whether they do get her for that because
that glassing occurred in Australia when she threw it at him.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
so quick little recap. So what she could be charged with is lying
so far
for the Yorkies in Australia, lying about the bottle tossing, because she tossed the bottle. Excuse me, no, for glassing. For throwing a bottle at Johnny, and then in the UK for lying under oath while she was there.
The pledge, yes, and the pledge. Remember, her testimony was in the UK that I gave the money, but in the US she said, "Oh well, I mean pledge and donation the same way." And pledge means, "Oh, I just promised to give you money." But she literally had to say in the US court that pledge, it means a promise, but I don't have to keep the promise.
What?
So I can renege on that. What the fuck? That's literally what she said in the court. She's like, she's like, my understanding is I don't ever have to give that. And she says, "Oh, pledge and donate mean the same thing to me."
When Johnny's lawyer closing arguments, right when she started pressing.
No, it was cross examination.
Yeah,
cross examination. So they fucking nailed. And Camille Vasquez, this feisty little Latina from LA, fucking roasted Amber. She was so salty about it. You
gonna shoot your shot?
What?
You gonna shoot your shot with her?
No, do not long-term date lawyers, female lawyers, smash and dash. That's my opinion as a lawyer. That's my legal advice. That's actual legal advice. Smash and dash, ladies and gentlemen. Smash and dash.
All right, fantastic. Right here from Legal Mindset. Smash and dash.
That being said, no, I know a lot of hot female lawyers. I would definitely smash, but I will dash.
Ejaculate and evacuate.
And evacuate, yes.
Okay, fair enough, my friend. Turn into Goku in this.
But that being said,
least professional podcast ever.
Yeah.
And canceled? Canceled. Canceled. All right. Fantastic.
And all female lawyers that wanted to stream with me, done.
Yeah.
No, they will anyways because I love it. They need it. Because no one else is saying it, man. No one else is saying it. Listen. So this the facts though. lawyers are more likely to date their paralegals and secretaries than they are to date other female lawyers. This is actually a fact. It's a straight up fact.
You gotta tell them the painful truth, huh?
Yeah.
Hey.
So anyways, point of the matter is that you got me fucking distracted. Is that Camille destroyed her on stand and said pledge a
Because you're
donation.
ruining every female lawyer's like fucking ambition to marry a fellow lawyer, bro. You're just destroying it.
Sorry, man. I'm reality. It's facts over feelings, man. It's facts over feelings. People want to hear this. You want to get married to
That's
a lawyer.
misogynistic.
You're better off being a bottle girl getting married to a lawyer than you are being a lawyer and getting with another lawyer.
Wait, are you implying men date down? You fucking asshole. What are you talking about?
Let me explain hypergamy to you, Myron. Wait, who's supposed to be the dating expert here? All right, so anyways, fucking all right. So the point of the matter is pledge and donation, not the same shit, right? So Camille got that. Are you okay, Myron?
No, I'm good. This is just fucking comedy.
Misogyny.
Yeah, misogyny. Real talk. I'm disturbed.
How dare you?
All right, good.
So pledge and donation are not the same shit. She got that out. It was clear. The jury literally like gasped at when she tried to make that. They all were like, I mean, because we had people in the courtroom, other fellow lawyers that were talking to us, reporting it. Yeah. And when they came out and said that and tried to say that, pledge and donation were the same thing, everybody is like, yo.
Yeah, like this bitch.
Yo. What? Like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Stupid.
So that's a UK lie. That's a UK lie. She lied to the judge. Yeah. The judge believed that she had already given the money.
Yeah.
And that was part of the material part of the
cuck judge from The Sun.
Yeah, the cuck judge, Nichols is his name, Nichols.
Yeah.
So
Nichols must have got some nickels from The Sun.
he got more than some nickels. So that's one over there. Now we got to turn back to the thing that everybody loves, because and also I have a merch store. It's in my descriptions of my videos. If you go back to my channel, look at it. That I sell a little bit of merch that's branded Amber Turd. So let's talk about the Amber Turd.
Okay.
So Myron, if you were to go run into my bedroom and you were to take a shit on my bed,
okay, I would do that.
Yes. Is there a crime you could be charged for that?
I think there is.
Yes. Okay, can you come up with one? I mean, there's two.
Destruction of property.
Destruction of property, vandalism, right? So yeah, it's vandalism. Vandalism. So taking a shit in someone's bed is for sure vandalism, maybe harassment too, actually, as well, because that turd was proved to be bigger than a teacup Yorkie. That was a human-sized shit.
She alleged it was
the teacup Yorkie shit.
A dog.
A dog. The teacup Yorkie, buddy. This is a teacup Yorkie. The thing is like this big. The poo was like this big. So it was
established to be human feces.
It was not possible. It was not possible to come from a dog. So she tried to blame it on poor Boo and Pistol, these poor dogs, and clearly human. So that could be another charge there.
Yeah.
It's a misdemeanor, but hey, it's a criminal charge. Still a criminal charge.
Yeah.
And mind you, she already has her criminal record was sealed, but she did have a drunk driving charge back in the day in Texas. Yes.
And an assault in Seattle.
Yes.
Her and her lesbian girlfriend fought each other in 2009.
I think they were married at that point. But whatever.
They basically turned. They were in the Seattle. Can you imagine? Like fucking, you're at the Seattle airport, and then
you just.
And then it's just fucking street fighting the motherfucker, and then it's just like, all right, come here, bitch. Yeah. And then they just start fighting.
She originally tried to accuse the officers of misogyny,
of course,
but it turns out one of the officers was a lesbian. So that didn't work out very well. But yes, that was brought up in the trial too, because she said she was squeaky clean, because she said she'd never done anything like that. And it turns out, yes, she in fact had done something like that. So
she's prone to violence as well. She's trying to claim, I've never done anything. And it's like
lesbian relationships are per capita. Remember, so this is there aren't as many lesbian relationships as straight relationships, as much as everyone wants you to believe, especially during Pride Month. Get your rainbow stickers online at Fresh and Fit now. I don't know. But they want you to believe that there are as many they want you to believe there's more LGBTQ++ relationships than straight relationships. But no, that's still a minority statistically, right? But if you take that and you make it per capita, lesbian relationships are far more violent, than any other class of relationship.
They are by far like head and shoulders above every other relationship, I guess, combination you want to use when it comes to
physical
domestic violence and beating the shit out of each other. And actually, the lowest is gay dudes.
Yes.
There's a reason why they
You
call
know
them
what?
happy.
Men don't want to fuck with other men because we know we can hurt each other.
Yeah.
Like it's like, yeah,
Men understand.
we get it.
It's what do they call it? Mutual destruction.
Yes.
Right? When you have nuclear weapons, like you know that if I send my nuclear weapons, they're going to send their nuclear weapons, and we're going to die. Men kind of operate and understand that, but women don't know that because. With women, like they're violent. It's gonna sound fucked up.
Well, no,
but their violence is pussy violence, bro. It's not real.
Well, also, they don't feel like there's any consequence for the violence. Like they're not gonna get in trouble. They're not gonna go anywhere. Like the police aren't gonna stop them. I mean, some guys might start whacking off to it, like because they're getting turned on by it. But like,
strange. Yes,
you know, they're not going to actually. Nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's so like yeah, and we know this from this isn't even me talking shit. Women serve 66% less time for the same exact crimes that men
is what it is.
do. So
yeah,
you know, if a woman commits an act of violence, she's far less likely to do the same amount of jail time. So men inherently understand that not only are we capable of greater levels of violence and greater injury, that we're going to do more time. So with women, it's like when they fight each other, it's like, oh, whatever, fuck it, let's fight each other. And yeah, the women by far are bigger perpetrators of violence than mainstream society will tell you.
Right. So that was another crime that our girl Heard committed. Now, I think someone brought up extortion and blackmail.
Yes.
So remember, Amber Heard said, because I love you, baby, because I love you, I'm going to record everything we're doing. I'll record whenever you're drunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not fucking sure, Myron, I'm still not sure. I'm not sure how these some of these videos got in because there's something called dual party consent, two-party consent. So that means that both parties have to consent to a recording.
Yeah.
So like if I come on a podcast, you know, and I have to be like, all right, I consent, you consent. Right now there's implied consent. So like obviously a podcast, like if you're agreeing to come on, you know it's going to be filmed. Like you're
surreptitiously recording a private conversation.
If I was just to have my phone sitting up here and be recording Myron and myself talking, I usually can't use that as evidence, right? Without his consent.
Yeah, I don't know how they got that in.
I'm not fucking sure how they got that in. I know they had to record some stuff for their marriage counseling and maybe they mutually agreed to allow it in. I don't know. But the point of the matter is that there's a lot of recording that Amber did of Johnny. Now, Johnny had some recordings, some audio recordings of Amber as well.
Yeah.
But Amber did far more recording and taking pictures of Johnny. There was that picture of him with the ice cream that's melted, a picture of him passed out in the Bahamas. These were all entered into evidence during the trial. If you watch the trial, you can see those videos.
Yeah.
In the one
marijuana.
The bags of marijuana.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's marijuana. I mean, it's the fucking America. Like, come on.
Yeah. And it's
marijuana.
California too.
So that's even worse. Like, nobody cares.
No one gives a fuck, bro.
No one cares.
Like,
so, but using those photos and trying to say, hey, you're a man. Nobody's going to believe you, which she did say. She said this. Yeah. You're a man. Nobody's going to believe you. I've got these photos. I've got these videos. I will ruin you.
Yeah.
What's the definition? At least for federal law, what's the definition of like extortion or blackmail?
Essentially what she did was real quick, Monica just won $10. I was at the gym looking at a mirror, remembering that being fat is unacceptable. Wishing my shirt said that. It was very motivating and refreshing. I hope you make a workout shirt or shirt with that to say. I will make a shirt with that.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Monica's one. So yeah, I mean, extortion is basically telling someone under the threat of violence or some kind of crazy public humiliation that might tarnish them that you need to comply with some sort of demand. So in this situation, guys, going back to the situation where we talked about where she went to the courthouse, long story short, before she went to the courthouse, right, and got that restraining order, right, against Johnny with the paint on her face to make it look like she got beat up. Yeah. She had contacted him, told him, hey, I need you to pay me money.
Yes.
Give me a couple of penthouses.
Yes.
Give me a Range Rover. Give me an allowance. Basically, she wanted him to basically become her sugar daddy for life.
Not good enough for Milan, so you had to get Johnny.
So she had to get it from Johnny. So Johnny didn't respond, rightfully so.
Yes. And
she tried to extort him. And when she said, you're not going to comply, she went to the judge, filed this thing. Next thing you know, she's on cover of TMZ with a black guy saying that Johnny beat her up. And it came out that she had basically contacted him prior to going to the courthouse and contacting TMZ,
right,
that she wanted these things, which is, I mean, fuck, bro. Like, from a federal standpoint, can't she be charged? Well, here's the thing when it comes to federal, a lot of times, it doesn't affect interstate commerce.
Right.
It depends on how she contacted him.
Right.
Did she contact him via mail? Did she contact him via phone? Exactly.
Yeah, you got it. That's the thing, guys. Remember, we talk about this all the time. Motherfucking fraud feds are going to get you for wire fraud, right? You know, when you want to watch out, they get you for goddamn wire fraud. You pick up your phone, like you just pick up your phone. You do anything on your phone. Oh, they got you. You're using the interstate commerce because you're using a phone. We need to update that shit.
I think it's 18 USC 1343. Let me see if I'm right here.
I'm actually a fan legally of like nuking the Commerce Clause because like it gives the federal government way too much power, but that's a separate fucking thing. Yeah, exactly.
It is 1343.
Of course the Fed thinks that's great. Yeah, exactly. It's like
so here's the thing. So there's a couple charges, and I'll break it down for you. There's a couple charges, guys, that the feds use as like easy catch-all charges.
Right.
Wire fraud is one of them. False statements is one of them.
Crazy.
You know, felon in possession, another one.
Right.
You know, or 18 U.S.C. 922G, unlawful acts when someone has a firearm and they're one of the 9 prohibited people. So these are charges that the feds use a lot of the time to come after people. Interstate transportation of stolen property. Right. That's another common one that they use. What else? Using like a weapon of mass destruction, right? Like I think they hit that.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like the definition of mass destruction is very broad.
It's very broad.
Not like nuke. You would think that's like mass destruction. It's way broader than that.
Like when they got the Boston Marathon bomber, people don't know. Like what they charge them with something called a criminal complaint, and a lot of times when the feds charge you with a criminal complaint, that means they're going to indict you, and then when they indict you, they're going to indict you on more charges, which is a criminal complaint, guys. Let's say I'm an agent, right? I write up a little affidavit, I give it to a judge, and a lot of the times with the criminal complaint, you're just trying to get the guy in jail. You're trying to get some kind of legal paperwork on him. So a criminal complaint is the fastest way to get someone into the federal judicial system. So I write a criminal complaint, I bring it to a judge, I could go there at 2:00 in the morning, whatever it is, swear to it, it's true and correct, sign it, bam, I get an arrest warrant, I go pick the guy up. And typically you're going to use the easiest charge that you could prove to go ahead and get him on a criminal complaint. Once I get him arrested, now I have about, depending on what district you're in, you have about 10 to 14 days to indict. And that means we got to convene a grand jury. I go in there, I present my case, blah, blah, blah. And that's when the AUSA will start to tack on the more complex charges on there.
Right.
Or they'll hit them with the same charge that I hit them on the criminal complaint, and then they'll come back and do what is called the superseding indictment. Right. So, but like what that's what they do.
You're able to get what, you know, exactly. Essentially, you could start this claim against Amber Heard with like wire fraud or false statements.
They want to get her in jail immediately.
And then you start with the bribery or extortion.
So like with Sonar Zokar, right? Sarnaev. Excuse me. Zokar Sarnaev.
Yeah.
So he was in custody, right? Because he had got fucked up.
The one that girls thought was hot.
Right? And they put him on Rolling Stone. Yeah. That fucking guy. And I was actually in Boston when that happened. So
crazy.
He was injured. They caught him in Watertown, and I broke this case down, guys. Feel free to go check it out. They caught him in Watertown. He got shot up or whatever it may be. So he was in the hospital. So they're like, yo, we're not going to take no chances. There was a big manhunt, whatever. So they filed a criminal complaint on him with, I think it was use of weapon of mass destruction, whatever. Right. And then they ended up, getting arrested, and then they came back with an indictment with all the other stuff causing death, etc., which is why he's serving life now. But that's typically how the feds will do it. So they can come in on a wire fraud, right? Because she probably used the mail system, whatever it is.
Yes.
Whether you use the mail system, email, all that shit, guys. Wire fraud is very easy to prove.
She had to. I think she could be. I think she could be next.
Murder for hire. Also, I did a murder for hire case one time. They use a cell phone to set the deal up. Federal now.
Yeah, federal. Yeah. So it's possible to make it federal. Is there statute of limitations on that?
Typically 5 years.
Yeah, we're pushing it right now, guys.
Typically 5 years.
So pushing it on that. So it might be a little bit difficult on that side. I want to answer this one from Nick.
Unless they can prove it's a conspiracy. Then they can go ahead. If it's a conspiracy, they can prove that she had been doing this bullshit for a bit. Then it extends the time.
You know what'd be crazy if they could show that she's been doing this to simps for like the last 10 years. Like she's fucking trying to extort Elon over his seed right now, because that's one of the theories. The crazy theories here is that she's trying to that the baby batter that was going to go into her surrogate, because she had a surrogate and she had a kid.
Yes,
that was Elon, and so there's some Elon extortion going there. Like, I'm gonna sperm jack you, Elon.
I mean, if they're able to show like a trend of like her just like extorting multiple men or whatever, maybe for financial resources or whatever.
Daddy Elon did not testify. Why did Daddy Elon not testify? What did mollusk? He was called Depp called a mollusk.
That's how they get. Why did he not testify? So on these gang cases, that's how they get these mafia guys on crimes that they committed 10, 20 years ago, because they're able to establish that it's racketeering activity and it's been going on for a long period of time. That's how you beat the statute of limitations.
That's a good one.
With conspiracy, especially if there's an organization involved, whatever. Yeah. So racketeering is another way to fight it.
This is a good question from Nick. So do you think Amber will file an appeal and try to drag this out? If so, do you think it will help or harm her? Okay, here's the thing, Nick. So filing an appeal, and I talked about this the other day, but I'll say it again. You actually have to put up real money in Virginia. You actually have to post a bond in escrow. So you've got to put money in escrow essentially to appeal. So she's got to put part of that, at least part of that $8 million up. So she can't just do this with funny money. She can't just do this with no money. And also those lawyers for the appeals, they cost a lot of money.
Yep.
They've got to get a full transcript of the court hearings. They've got to review it. They've got to bring it up. And if she does that, by the way, if she does that, Nick, she can Johnny can also challenge the counterclaim. So there's $2 million that went in her favor and $10 million that went in Johnny's favor. So net is 8. But once again, Johnny gets to challenge that on appeal. So imagine if she appeals it and she loses her attempt, but Johnny's charge gets thrown out. Now her charges, her liability just went up to 10 million. Crazy.
Bam. So it might not even be worth it.
Yeah. I don't know about who's Blue Jasmine. So she wants the
Blue Jasmine, Amir Ali. He's from Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Blue Jasmine was a chick that went viral last year for basically she broke up with her boyfriend. He said he still has to pay her bills.
What a fucking simp. All right.
Yeah. And then anything else here?
That's all one down.
I think this the chats.
Okay, yeah,
okay.
just super stickers. And
Okay,
stuff
and
like
then
that.
Michael Meestroke, thank you so much.
Thank
Shout out to Holly in the back helping out, man. I'll give you a Don DeMarco. Good one, $5.
Yeah.
Doesn't Amber need
Yes,
to post
yes,
8 mil
yes.
bond to appeal?
She needs to post an 8 mil bond. So she may not have to put up all of it, but she may have to put up at least a portion of that bond, right? So just like if you're posting a bond for, getting out of jail, right?
For that bank robbery.
Yeah, you typically have to post like part of that at least in hard money. Then you can go to
10% typically.
10%. So 10% of 8 mil is still a fucking lot of money. It's not like zero.
80,
right?
80K?
800. Yeah, 800. What, 800?
No, 800K. Sorry.
800K.
Yeah, 800K.
Yeah. So like that's not fucking a joke. Like $800,000 is a lot of money.
She's gonna have to go on.
And
OnlyFans.
remember, this bitch drinks 20K in wine a month. That's her wine bill. Yeah, you're shaking your head. Yeah, 20K wine bill a month. What? And Johnny's the one with the substance abuse problem.
What the fuck?
She drinks $20,000 a month. Like what?
I didn't fucking stutter, man.
Some weird
I'm not
shit.
Walt. I mean,
yeah,
20K,
bro. Like what the fuck though? Like,
yeah.
Holy shit, Michael Meestroke, F&F for hardest working channel. Pause. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate that. Yeah, that is crazy. And then what other crime do we have here?
I think that's a lot of crimes.
Yeah. So
That's a lot of crimes, guys.
Quick little recap, guys. Okay.
Stupid.
Oh my bad. Rewind it. Okay. Dumb. Okay, so guys, so first we gave y'all the background on what happened, what the case was. Basically, It was a defamation civil case, guys. It's not a criminal case, just so you guys know. The Johnny Depp Amber Heard case is civil, which means it's not criminal. He's suing her for defamation, which is basically destroying his name, and he lost a lot of money. He lost he's suing her for $50 million. Okay. He ended up winning the case, but during the case, guys, a lot of facts came out that showed that Amber Heard was lying. Okay.
And by the way, so I want to just one real quick. So yeah, Virginia doesn't net it out, but I mean, once again, it's going to be net into your bank account, right? So even if you're wiring over 2 million as you wire over 10.35, right? If that's happening contemporaneously,
yeah,
right. I mean, but once again, the question is, does she have any money at all?
Yeah,
I think she's fucking judgment proof. And here's the thing: they're not going to make her wire that is not going to go down. He's not going to send her 2 million, and she's going to send 0, right? That's got to happen contemporaneously. So that's the issue. I think she's judgment proof, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think she's judgment proof?
Yeah, and judgment proof is a term we use for people that are broke as shit. So in the legal world, when people don't have fucking money, then we call them judgment proof. That means like, they're not coming for you and your PlayStation 5, like that's your only, if you owe $1 million, they're not going to come repo your, PS3 that you got hanging on there, and that's all you got. Like
so when you actually have it's when you have assets.
Real money and assets, hard assets that they can take from you. Amber Heard really doesn't have hard assets. She, allegedly has a house, but who knows? I think it's in a trust, not even in her name directly. So who knows?
So they can't touch that.
Who knows? Well, who knows about control of that trust? It might not even be, her herself, right? It might be some sort of other entity. Who knows?
You do, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about, the background of the case. So she basically lost the trial. She lost the defamation trial. So she's liable for $8 million now.
Yes.
She, during the course of the trial, was proven that she had lied in a couple of different situations. The first lie, guys, was she claimed that she pledged or she was going to pay money, $7 million to be exact, to a charity donation, and she never did. And she said this under oath in the United Kingdom, aka the UK, which they also have laws against lying, aka perjury.
Perjury, right? We're all Commonwealth countries, and even civil law countries have laws against perjury.
Yeah. So that was the first law. First thing that she got in trouble for. Second was in Australia, she basically brought her Yorkie in.
2 Yorkies.
Two Yorkies.
Pistol.
Yeah, claiming that she didn't know Australian custom laws and I didn't know and all this other shit. But there's some evidence to show that she did know.
She knew.
So she basically lied to customs officers, which would probably be a federal Australian offense.
Yes.
And then also she she assaulted Johnny by throwing a bottle,
a handle of vodka,
handle of vodka at his hand, which severed his hand. And there is a crime in Australia called glassing.
Yeah.
Which, don't ask me how they have a law called glassing, but it is a crime where a bottle is used.
Any glass is used. Glass is used as a weapon. Yeah. So it's essentially assault with a deadly weapon, but in Australia. So, everything's a little different down under.
Yeah. Down under. And there's no statute of limitations.
No statute of limitations in Australia.
And then the next is, she lied about getting pushed down the stairs.
Yeah, she lied about the stairs incident. And she lied about a lot of stuff during the trial, guys, but that's one that stands out.
Yeah.
Right? I say, hey, she lied under oath about that, right? Anytime you lie under oath, included whether it's in trial or out of trial, whether it's you're filing a police document, you can technically be brought to court for that. Now, is it likely? No. Yeah. But is it possible? Sure, it's possible. Yeah. It's possible for her to be brought in on perjury for anything she said in court.
Especially, and here's the thing, guys. Normally, when perjury isn't that big of a deal, but when you lie and you have that much publication on you, and the case is this big, I would be surprised if there isn't an enormous amount of pressure on the law enforcement officers in these jurisdictions where these crimes occurred to not do something.
So, and let me say one thing real quick. So in LA, there's actually a filing by Adam Waldman, who's Johnny's former attorney. He actually filed a request for them to investigate both Amber Heard and Raquel Pennington. Mm-hmm. For perjury related to a lot of these allegations. So that's in LA. They're investigating it right now. So that's actually pending.
And Patty Jackson goes $5. Yo, Myron, can we get a PPP loan video? You think the government going to come after the little fish? My friend, I got you right now. So I did a video. Shout out to, recipes of Pop Smoke, but his gang members from the Woo actually did a whole PPP loan scam of like $20 million. I broke it down. They made a rap song saying unemployment got us working a lot. And they use those lyrics against them to fucking, to get them indicted for federally by the Department of Labor because they committed a bunch of mail fraud. You guys want to see a mail fraud case? Go check that one out. But I have that video. Type in Woo fraud, and I have a whole video where I broke it down and all that other shit. Wayne, $20. Heard's public humiliation is a good down payment on the settlement. There you go. That's true. So we talked about getting glassed. We talked about shitting on the bed.
Shitting in the bed. That's misdemeanor, probably harassment, vandalism.
Destruction of public
property. Not public property.
Sorry,
private property.
Yeah.
Public property would be much different.
Yeah, it'd be. Yeah.
That'd be smearing the turd everywhere outside. But that's definitely a thing. You can't just shit in someone's bed and get away with it, right? That's definitely a crime.
Extortion
and blackmail, right? And then potential wire fraud. We even got wire fraud in there.
Yeah,
because she used the phone.
Yeah, and I think that I think of all these crimes, what do you think?
And she's trying to demand money too. So
last one, lying about the bruising on the face getting punched.
Yes, lying with the TRO. She lied to get the TRO.
Because you have to lie, guys. When you sign legal documents, 9 out of 10 times, it always says there, "I certify under penalty of perjury that the true is correct and to the best of my knowledge." 9 out of 10 times. Look at any government document, guys. Or if it's a federal document, it's going to say penalty of perjury of 1001. Yes. If it's state, it's going to say penalty of perjury, whatever. Because when you sign that stuff, you're basically signing something under oath. So when she signed that document, like, "Oh my God, Johnny abused me," blah blah blah. She basically signed her own death warrant that she lied.
I like someone saying female perjury is liable. The whole point of this case is that it shouldn't matter whether you're male or female. Lying is not okay, and abuse is not okay. That's really the point that should come out of this trial. And I think a lot of people have taken that. And the funny thing is too, is that, I think a lot of people, Myron's in like the very specific sphere, he's in the red pill sphere, but I'm in the lawyer sphere. And a lot of times, like my audience, a lot of fucking normies and a lot of people that, are just realizing that the mainstream media is lying about this shit and that they've been lying about this shit. And they're trying to spin people. They're trying to indoctrinate them. And they're saying, "Hey, I watched the trial. It's televised. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw what was going down in the courtroom." And they're realizing these people are lying about it. So they're coming to people who are telling the truth about it. Yeah. People like my channel, other channels. And they're realizing, hey, we want good analysis. So 700 horses. This is a great question. I've heard this question before, which is question for Andrew, in regards to Amber being judgment proof, if she doesn't have the assets to repossess, can't the judge garnish wages? Yes and no. Here's the thing though. What she's an actress, assuming she doesn't transition to OnlyFans, right? Which is definitely something that may happen. Let's say you're an actress. The way those payments are dealt with is not like a normal wage. Like, if you're going out there and you're got a little briefcase and you're going to work in a 9 to 5, it's not like wage garnishment. It's more like a one-time distribution or a take. It's sort of like garnishing a bank account, right? They got to go in there and get permission to get it, and they get like kind of one bite of the apple. So It's possible they could garnish her movie funds. She might try for Chapter 7, try for personal bankruptcy. But here's the thing. Here's the fun thing, which I talked about on my channel. I've looked it up in the bankruptcy code, and you do not get to discharge judgments that involve malice.
Hey!
And because this was a defamation trial involving two public figures, it's required. You have to, in order to recover against a public figure, for defamation, you have to prove the other person acted with actual malice. So because it was proven at the trial that she acted with bad intent, she can't discharge that bitch. She's on the hook.
Give me a hell yeah! All right.
Yeah, guys, because when you get sued, when you sue someone and you're a public figure, you have to go another level beyond to prove defamation. Because as a public figure, you lose a little bit of your
protection.
autonomy.
You're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
You're putting this out there. I mean, you can't whine and cry about somebody, leaving nasty comments on YouTube.
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, it just is what it is.
You know, being a public figure versus being a which obviously Johnny Depp is an A-list celebrity.
He's the definition.
He is a definition of a public figure, so he doesn't enjoy the same protections that a private citizen would have with defamation. Patty Jackson, $2. Why didn't she just plead the fifth?
Well, because she can't shut her mouth, but that's number one. But number two is because it's a defamation case. I mean, number one is my red pill opinion, but number two is it's a defamation case. So you kind of have to get the he said, she said. And remember, she was the only person, the only witness. Let me be very fucking clear. The only witness that testified to her allegations of sexual abuse. She did not have a medical report. She did not have a police report. None of her friends testified to the sexual abuse. Nobody else even knew about it except for Amber Heard. So she had to testify to get it out. Otherwise, she would lose, like, per se.
Yeah.
She also had certain allegations that only she made. And look, I think she would have been better off not testifying, but she had to.
Yeah, she had to.
She had to. And she is the crazy type of person that needed to get up there and rebut everything Johnny said. So everything that happened to Johnny, no, she fake cried. Yeah,
cry without tears. Yeah.
Everything that happened to Johnny happened to her twice as bad.
Yeah. And also, guys, keep in mind that the Fifth Amendment, which the Fifth Amendment, guys, is basically the right to stay silent and not to incriminate yourself.
Right.
That's pretty much you can invoke that in a criminal case. Like
in
a civil case, I mean, you
just choose not to testify.
Yeah, you could choose not to testify, but like in a case like this where it's civil, where the case is contingent upon her testimony because she needs to be able to. She's the only person that could testify to the things that she's talking about, because hearsay is not allowed in a trial. Which hearsay is when someone else makes a statement on your behalf. No, it's got to be you. You actually have to testify. So, yeah, bro, she can't really extend that Fifth Amendment privilege like that. But yeah, and she's a fucking crazy narcissist.
Well, she's a lying, crazy narcissistic hoe. But yeah,
tragic mouse. I just hope JD doesn't forgive her debt.
No, I don't. No, he's not. There's no fucking way. I mean, you could see in JD, he is committed to this. He knows that she is a crazy.
This trial, he probably went negative.
Crazy girl.
I guarantee you, he probably went negative doing all this shit
on the fees and everything. Oh yeah, for sure. Because remember, he
paying his attorneys and everything. He went negative.
He had a trial in the UK and in the US.
Yeah.
So even if he gets this money, I think he's still at an L. But frankly, the win for Johnny is his reputation.
Bam, yeah.
And being able to talk to his children and tell his children, I'm not a fucking sexual criminal here. I'm not a sexual predator.
Yeah.
I'm not a harasser. I'm not a violent person. He's having to live with that. And now finally he's cleared. Finally, the world knows this is bullshit. Amber Heard is a lying bitch, and the true justice is not the money; it's that Johnny Depp has his life back, and Amber Heard gets fucking wrecked.
Yep. No, that is 100%. Guys, do me a favor. We only got like 1,000 fucking likes right now. Go ahead and like the goddamn video. So we're gonna get ready to wrap up here, guys, in a second. So go ahead and get your questions in if you do have them. We'll do a short, quick Q&A, answer any questions that might come in. I think we showed all the chats.
I think we got most of them. Yeah, I think it was pretty good. I mean,
we showed everying, right?
Usually takes me forever to get through super chats.
Yeah,
especially with Amber Heard.
That's a hot topic. Got whatever they say. It is a hot topic. But yeah, man. I mean, so what do you think? So I think the extortion is the worst crime here. What do you think is the worst crime that she potentially might be facing?
I mean, other than glassing, I think that's funny. But and I'm not an Australian lawyer. I'm not a British lawyer. So those aside, I mean, I think that perjury. Here's my point. I think we should take perjury more seriously, and I think we should be hitting people that lie about crimes especially crimes of this scale that have this magnitude, that has impact, the people that were damaged by this, the real people that were victims are the real victims of domestic violence and sexual violence. Those people are damaged by Amber's false claims.
Facts.
Amber saying that she was sexually abused with no proof whatsoever, it demeans people that were really abused, that had true abuse. And so I think, to me, she should be hit for lying. To me, she should be hit for that. To morally, I think as a culture, in terms of also justice in general, the rule of law, I think she should be hit for lying. I think this is a case where, look, yes, it doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen often. But in cases like Jussie Smollett, and in this case, Amber Heard, I think they should be held up and held to account so that other people do not follow their footsteps. And also, so it shuts down this narrative of just simply believing all women, even if they're lying. And there were outlets that said that, like, even if she's imperfect, even if she's not telling the truth partially, we should side with her. It's crazy. I mean, Vice, Vogue, and Vox, the
Clown
three
world.
Vs, really, really, really bad. It was also from The Root. There was an article that this is a tragedy for Black women. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, it had nothing to do. Like, they always try to find a protected class. This is what the left does when they take an L. They can't take an L, so they're going to go ahead and take a victim mindset. G-Men NC, $5 with simultaneous criminal and civil cases. You could take the fifth in civil, right? You can, but it's again,
you can choose not to speak. I mean,
you could choose, but it's gonna hurt it's gonna hurt you to probably more than likely if you're the one being sued.
I pledge to donate
100K pledge. Thank you, Neo. I appreciate that. Ban $10. What about ACLU lawsuit against JD to pay legal fees?
Okay, it was actually 86K, now 186K. I don't think, but the point of it matter. There was motions back and forth. Actually, the motions are really boring because it's just like, okay, ACLU wants all this money from lawyer time to get documents, so you typically have to pay for documents. So if I request somebody to produce documents, so I say, okay, I'm requesting Walt's Ice Cream Shop to produce all the business records for the last year. So I'm requesting these records from Walt's Ice Cream Shop, right? And if he's got to put a bunch of work into getting these records to me, I got to pay him for that work. He's not working for free, right? He can't just get records for free. That's not right. That's not just. However, the costs have to be reasonable, and you have to get people who can do that job cheaply to do the work. You don't hire the most expensive fucking people to do the work of making copies, right? So if I was working at a law firm, they don't hire me as an attorney to make copies. The secretary can make the copies, right? And she bills at a lower rate than I bill. Like when I was at a law firm, I was billing out, even as an associate, I was billing out in the 300s for $300 an hour ish, right? So you don't pay somebody $300 an hour to make copies, right? You can pay somebody fucking $15 an hour to make copies. It's just making copies. So the point is, the ACLU submitted this
free intern.
The ACLU definitely has interns too. So they submitted this massive bill for 86K and said, hey, Johnny, this is what we needed to do. And so they turned around and said, we just asked you to produce documents. Nope. Your ass hired the most expensive fucking people out there, right, to do this work. You hired like top tier attorneys and associates, all sort of shit. You didn't have to do it. You were claiming privilege on everything, even though we didn't even ask for it. We didn't even want it. You were being unnecessarily obstructionist. So we'll pay you $1,000. That's what I said. That's the cost you should have spent, right? Regardless of whether you spent it or not, you were unreasonable to spend. Even if you really did spend 86K, that's not reasonable. So that's where that's at. I think it's a good claim. I think they have a good defense. I don't think they're going to end up paying 86K. I do think they'll pay something. Obviously, ultimately, this would come out of Mrs. Heard's, money, because there's the recovery there. But for now, it's against Johnny because Johnny requested the documents. So,
Blackest Panther should be a crime to not go to the police before.
Oh. Shout out to my girl Alina in I believe in Dubai, right? Yeah, that's the Durhams, right? So Legal Mindset. Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate
man
the
on
love.
earth. Okay, and then we got and up V $100. I always wanted to pledge $1 million, but only pay 100 USD. Thank you. And then her purchased her house under a private trust in the name of her accountant. According to property records seen by the NY Post, can hiding assets be ceased?
Well, there's so when you're looking at assets, you can look at whether or not it's just a mere we call it like a puppet entity, or essentially it's an alter ego. Alter ego, that's the phrase. So whether the entity is just an alter ego of the individual.
Don't worry, guys, I'll fix the camera.
So, okay, there we go. So If that's just an alter ego of Amber Heard, then yes, they could recover, even if it's in the name of the accountant, even if it's in a trust. But there's certain mechanisms, certain reasons why you might put it in somebody else's name. That's why you hear the rappers being like, "I put it in my mama's name," right? Because you're trying to protect those assets. You're trying to keep those assets out of potential judgment recovery, out of potential damages. So yeah, it's possible. It's possible to keep that out there. I see Neo asking, will Elon simp for Amber and pay her legal fees? Well, I don't think Daddy Elon and Amber are in good terms anymore. I mean, they were riding a high after that three-way with Cara Delevingne, but after that happened, I just don't think that Daddy Elon is going to come in and simp some more for Amber.
I hope not.
I think he's moved on to New Punani, and I think he's on to the next.
Yeah. And then what else do we got here? I think we're guys.
I think we're caught up here. We're caught up.
Guys, get me at least 3,000 likes, man, because I didn't want to stop the show to get the likes up, but just help your boy out because they're coming for me on Black Twitter and World Star right now because I made some comments. Yeah, I basically said that a lot of people have a victim mindset. A lot of minorities have a victim mindset. They need to stop crying about the police and the man. And
you're going to come for them. They're going to come for you on that one.
Systematic racism, all these other stupid ass social buzzwords. It's like, no, bro, you're a fucking loser because of your own decisions, dude. Like, stop crying about this shit, because if we want to go ahead and say victims, well, bro, guess what? They treated me like a black guy. They treated me like an Arab, and they treated me like a Muslim. I have every excuse to be a fucking crybaby too, especially after 9/11 when they were fucking treating me like shit, my family like shit, and I was able to figure it out. So what's your fucking excuse? Parents came here in the 1980s, couldn't even speak English. Dad again robbed in Brooklyn, all that shit. Grew up poor, and I figured it out. You're telling me you were born here in the United States and you dealt with a little bit of adversity and you can't fucking figure it out? Fuck out of here, bro. Oh no, well, Myron, you're not really black. You're not a foundational black American. Like, what are you talking? What the fuck are you talking? What? Now we're gonna. Oh, I need you to show me a certificate that your great grandfather was a slave in 1891.
Well, that's the whole issue with reparations in California. So they're actually so California. If you guys know that, they're actually seriously thinking about reparations. But they got down to the issue of like, who do we pay?
Yeah,
like how do we determine
how are you
that?
gonna determine exactly?
Like there's no way to do that, and people get mad either way. People get mad if you award it to everyone who checks the the black box in the census data, or if you give it to people who are just descendants of slaves and can prove that, because it's very difficult.
Because people want to make their own subjective definitions on what makes you black.
Right.
Oh, well, Myron, you're not black because your family speaks Arabic. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like.
It's everything.
It's allegedly the language you speak dictates your race.
On next episode, 9/11.
Like, have any of you guys seen my brother? He's black as fuck. He's darker than Walt, bro.
Is that possible?
Yeah, dude. He's black as shit.
Walt?
Yeah, bro, he's like he's like Walt's skin color, bro.
Wow.
And his hair has the waves, all that shit. You don't say he ain't black either?
I heard someone brought it up here. It's a joke. If you get descendants, so I saw somebody say, so then white people would get it. Because that's actually a controversy. So if it's descendants of slaves, there's gonna be a lot of white people recovering.
Oh, they're gonna be mad about that.
Real mad about that.
They're gonna be real mad about that.
Real mad about that. Anyways, I enjoyed talking about this. It's a great topic. I've been covering Amber Heard. I've got maybe I'm gonna do one more episode on it tomorrow on my channel with Roll Tomasi. We're gonna talk about the fallout, the misogyny that's coming out of this.
Yeah.
Hashtag believe all women. The death of that.
What's your real quick before we close this bad boy out? Give us your prediction on what you think. Well, I'll go first and you go second.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what I think is this was a win for everybody, not just men, not just falsely accused. I think this was a win for women too, because what's going to happen now is that the women that are actually legit are going to come forward. The false accusers are going to, chill. And I think that, believe all women was a dangerous precedent. I said this back fucking 2 years ago.
Never should have been a thing.
It should never been a thing, because when you say believe all women, what you're basically doing is you're inferring that number one, that women are morally superior and they can't lie, and they're not human beings, which goes against the feminist narrative, which is we're supposed to be equal, correct?
Right.
And to be equal to a man, you need.
Also, it's also saying, well, they're superior, but also inferior, because if they can't lie, like, isn't lying advantageous in certain circumstances? So you're saying women are incapable of lying, so they can't do something that men can do. Well, I thought that we're all supposed to be equally capable of doing everything, right?
And the craziness with the college campuses, like nowadays, like if two people hook up on college campus, they've been drinking alcohol, neither party can consent. So now it's a race of who can go to the conduct board and report the other first, and they get in trouble.
Right.
So it's like, what's going on here? Like, are we going to say women are adults that are capable of making their own decisions, or
Well,
are
you
we going
know-
to sit here and say that they're children and can't make their own decisions?
And Myron,
What's going to happen here?
Let's not lie. We know who gets to the conduct board first, because it's not guys going to the conduct board being like, I smashed.
It's
You know,
women,
like
yeah.
it's
But one guy actually did do it. Shout out to Tim Cass. They talked about it.
I'm not saying
Made it
I'm not
first.
saying it never happens. I'm saying it's rare.
But here's the thing: he went because he knew she was going to go.
Yeah, right.
He
Now-
ran to them first.
And when this mutually assured destruction system comes around, when we know like, okay, this is X, Y is going to happen, and the tables are turned, then it starts to get investigated. Then people are like, oh shit, okay,
Mhm.
we gotta fix this issue.
Corner Kyle, $5. If the justice system gave out 5 years to JS and Amber H, would it prevent a lot of lying moving
Yeah.
forward? I think it would, man.
And what if I wish Juicy was still in jail instead of getting out for one
There
day.
needs to be reform 100% where false allegations, whether it's rape, sexual assault, any type of crime,
anything.
it needs to be punished.
Yeah.
700 horse at $500, $5. Sorry. So simply putting assets in a family's number, name, or a separate LLC is enough to
I
shield
did
them
not
from
say that.
lawsuit
I did
judgments.
not
You
say
did
that. In fact, I said the opposite. 700 horses. I said if they find that it's your alter ego, it in fact will not help it. So if you're putting it in a family member's name or a separate LLC, and you're using it as an alter ego for your person, and there's a judgment against you, that will not necessarily protect it. Now, I'm not saying that, and it isn't helpful. Right. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that to shield, for example, your business assets from your personal assets. That actually is a smart move if you form an LLC for business assets. However, if you're gonna get recovered against and you're hiding your stuff in an LLC, that's not going to save it.
Aldane Campbell, will they change the laws for that false allegations? I hope they do, man.
I hope they do. That's
It's a
what we
step
should
in the
push
right
for.
direction.
Yeah, we should push for that.
This
I think we
case
should.
was a step in the right direction, man. I think it was a win for everybody, and most importantly, it was a win for the real victims. Because this is going to be a controversial take, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Oh no! Here's mine with a controversial take.
Rape culture is a fucking myth. It is a myth, and I did a whole podcast on this on Fresh and Fit. Go ahead and search it. We did it with Rollo Tomasi. It is a myth, guys. Let me tell y'all something, that a lot of the statistics that they use is 1 in 5 women on college campuses a victim or whatever. Like, just think about that from a common sense standpoint. Would you send your daughter to college if there was a 20% chance? That's ridiculous. 1 in 5 is actually getting assaulted on a college campus. I would never send my daughter, but people say this shit because it sounds great on paper. But the reality is, when you peel back the layer and see where that study came from, it comes from faulty, questionnaires.
Right.
Where you're asking a girl, how did you feel when it happened? Did it actually happen?
How did you feel?
Yeah, that's the scary thing. How did you feel?
Do you regret it?
Yeah, do you regret it?
And it's like, well, yeah, that's a lot of it is stuff you regret, right? But that doesn't mean you didn't consent to it just because you regret it. There's a huge difference between regret and consent.
And that's the clown world that we're getting into, guys. When you get into this world, it's extremely ambiguous, whatever. So when we talk about sexual assault, rape culture, etc., it does not exist in the United States, and we prove this definitively because we use the Bureau of Justice Statistics to show that it's actually far less prevalent than they want to tell you. Because a lot of these studies that say, "Oh no, we live in a rape culture," all this other shit, they use stats that are not accurate, and they use a bunch of stupid questions. Like, one of the questions, guys, was, "Did you have a drink with someone before you guys hooked up?" And if they answered yes, that was considered as a tally for one in the sexual assault column.
Yeah.
So if you were with your wife, you guys have a glass of wine, and then you guys smash, you technically, according to some of these studies, raped your wife.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. There used to be an era where you couldn't legally grape your wife, but that's a whole different era. That's a whole different era.
But that's the studies that a lot of these crazy feminists are citing, guys. But go check that episode out if you guys want. But yes, it is a myth. But Andrew, what's your take on this, on the outcome of this and the future?
Yeah, I really think this has been great for opening people's eyes, for red pilling people on the reality of what's going on, the reality of the fact that men are scared to reach out. I've had so many men reach out to me and say, thank you for covering this. Thank you for getting out the hashtag men too. Thank you for showing that men can be the victims of abuse too. Thank you for outing women like Amber Heard, people like Amber Heard, because there's men and women who act like Amber Heard, but especially I think women, it's something that other women are discovering. They're saying, oh my God, I never knew there were women like this. I never knew there were people like this. I'm like, yes, this is what we're fucking terrified of, because you bring a person like this in your life and they are a nuclear bomb. They destroy you financially, physically, emotionally, mentally. They destroy your friends, your family, everything. So I think that is the great lesson here. And if only a couple of you out there can keep the amber turds out of your life, that is a fucking victory. That is a massive victory. Make sure that you get rid of those people. Be on the watch for them. They're the ones who are going to throw it at you so strong in the beginning, right? If it's a girl, she's going to throw that crazy pussy at you. If it's a guy, maybe he's got that golden ding dong, right? They're going to hit you in the beginning. They're going to come at you strong, but they're going to flip. They're going to turn on you. Watch for that. Be very, 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 very cautious of that. It's very dangerous, and I think that is more important than even the legal consequences here.
Facts. Holly, you have anything you want to say? No. Okay. And then Patty Jackson here goes $5. If people consider Nipsey Hussle black, Myron, you good, bro. Well, you're welcome to the cookout. Thank you, my ninja. I appreciate that greatly, man. Keep up the great work, Myron. Thank you so much, Dollface TV. Shout out to you, my friend. And we're gonna do a Tekashi 6ix9ine breakdown, guys. She's actually helping me out with that. We're gonna do that probably in a week or two, because I know you guys want me to break down that Rico case that him and the Bloods got. So we're working on that for y'all, and I'm also working on Young Dolph as well.
Awesome.
But other than that, man, Andrew, where can people find you?
You can find me at Legal Mindset on YouTube, at The Legal Mindset on Twitter.
Tag in the description.
The Legal Mindset, right? Not Legal Mindset because some host stole that from me on Twitter. But I'm now up to 28K on Twitter, so follow me there. Esquire International on Instagram.
Yes.
ESQUIRE International.
And I'm going to put all those links in the description for you guys.
Follow me, motherfuckers. Also, you can join my private community, legalmindset.locals.com. That is like a Patreon, but it's not woke, so I can say where the fuck I want to say on that. They don't cancel me. It's pretty much I was talking about the coof. I was talking about the election stuff. I'm talking about anything there.
Shit.
There's exactly. They don't censor you, so I can talk about all those uncensored.
Election, that's automatic.
That's on my legalmindset.locals.com. Only there do we have completely uncucked conversations. So check that out.
Go check it out, guys. Go support him. Timestamps will be up, guys. Go check me out, as you guys know, on Fresh and Fit. Also, Unplugged Fit is my Instagram. And this was a great discussion, man. Thank you for coming so much, Andrew.
My pleasure. I'll be back.
Yeah, he will be back, guys. Maybe we'll do 9/11 for y'all. Patriot Act 9/11 in the future.
I want to do that one. I think that's fun. We can always do that one. That's a great one.
We'll do that one. That will take a little bit longer. That'll be a 3-hour podcast. I'll be honest with you.
Sure, at least.
That's gonna be a long one.
It's like a fucking part 1, part 2.
Yeah. So, but other than that, guys, like the video on your way out, guys. I appreciate it. We love you guys. We'll catch you back here tomorrow. We're gonna have Miguel from Dollar Cost Crypto for Fresh and Fit. And other than that, man, we'll catch you guys. And you can hit end broadcast right there, Holly, up top. Yeah, there you go. Peace out, guys. Later.
Peace.
You guys are the best, man. Love y'all.